I completed my first master's in international marketing. I have had my undergrad honors in marketing, and I was always focused on getting like a higher degree in marketing. But when I started my marketing and when I started my job, I realized that there's a lot more that you can add to any field, be it marketing, finance, HR, with the addition of business intelligence and analytics. So that is what prompted me to pursue my second master's in business intelligence and analytics, because it just adds a completely new dimension to any field of business that you're in. I always knew that I'm good with numbers. I knew that I'm good with optimizing things. I'm good at telling a story. And in my case personally, I saw that there's a huge gap between hardcore engineers and hardcore marketers. The gap needs to be filled. So how about somebody who understands marketing, who understands all the technical jargons of marketing, and also has the technical ability of the BIs that BI prompts, and you bring a mix. So that completely gives you a different dimension on your resume, in your personality as well, when you're able to mix these two and tell a story that the stakeholders ultimately are better able to understand. And the business intelligence program is developed and is designed in such a way that it gives you a vast option based on your abilities or based on your interests as to which path that you want to choose. For me, it was more on the data visualization and more of data analysis side, so I pursued that. But then somebody more into the technical side of it, they could also go towards the cybersecurity track. They could also choose the machine learning track. So it's a vast and a very well-designed program, which allows every candidate to pursue their interest in a manner that would benefit them the most. Every class that I have taken at St. Joe's for both my degrees, especially in the business intelligence and analytics program, has definitely translated onto the work side. When I take something from a data visualization class and apply that at my workplace, people are shocked to see like the capabilities of the tools that are present in today's world and how we choose to utilize them. So my classes at St. Joe's definitely gave me a different view of how I can implement these tools at my workplace. So that's what helps you distinguish, helps you stand out from the rest of the crowd. I have a few friends who are from the engineering background and have completed their masters in business intelligence and analytics. And what they tell me is they are able to tell a different story when it comes to people who are just engineers and can program and code stuff. But the logic and to make a layman understand what is the meaning of everything that is written down in an application, how they translate it, that is what the business intelligence and you see the word business that plays an important role in analytics itself. So any engineer can do an analytics, but then to explain the outcome, that is where 90% of the story lies. So it just adds that whole business dimension to it, where it's just helping you grow in a managerial position and move up in management. So the whole job of a manager is to get the findings of what everybody under them do and translate it over to their stakeholders or to the upper management. So that is where the program comes in handy for everyone who's from a computer science or an engineering background, that they are able to relate these technicalities, these technical terminologies in the business world and how that could be applied in real business situations. So we have big classrooms back in India. Our syllabus, our curriculum is, all said that you have to take these classes. You don't have the flexibility. You don't have the, if you're doing your marketing degree in your undergrad, you don't have the option to take a web analytics course when compared to any other course that's not offered in that curriculum. But then when it came to choosing my classes during both my degrees, I had the flexibility of going and choosing classes that interested me more. So if I'm not a guy with a lot of technical background, but then I also wanted to learn some programming languages, and Python was one of it. I did not want to take some other class that would not, that would not suit my skill sets. And I was allowed, and I was able to pick up classes that interested me more, that were more aligned with my skill sets. And especially a class that interested me more, I could have gone in and taken an advanced level course for that as well. The faculty is always open and engaged with you. They will always answer your question. They would also be willing to meet with you during non-class hours. I have scheduled my meeting with my professors over weekends, and they have they've not been able to meet up with me on campus physically, but then they've always taken time and set up virtual meetings via Zoom. And I think the longest that I've had on a Saturday was a 3-hour interaction with my professor, and we went through over a lot of details that I wanted more explanation on. So that way I feel that your professors are always there to help you. You just need to reach out to them. Back home, my class, I had 99 other classmates in my classroom. It would be a one-way conversation with my professor standing at the far end and giving out lectures, and me sitting right at the back. The largest class that I've had at St. Joseph's has been, say, 25 students, and never has been a class where I have not spoken for at least 10 minutes. So every class is more or less an interactive session. You do look at stuff for the first half of the class, but the second half you indulge in conversation with your fellow classmates, with your professor, because a lot of your classmates come with bags and bags of experiences, and just conversing with them on topics that you've discussed in the class just adds so much more value to your education, so that when you take all of this back to your workplace, you are adding value to your workforce. You're adding another dimension to your workplace. So that's where I feel that this two-way conversation, this interactive, collaborative session is what I like to call it as, makes a lot of difference in the way you learn and how you learn. If somebody imposes something on you that this is what you need to learn, you'll forget it in the next minute. But then when you pick up something that you did not know from someone who's been really good at it, you're never going to forget that. Trust me on that. Some of my classes, I've had classmates who are vice presidents, directors, and somebody who's at the far end of their business side, and are in a position to make big decisions that affect a whole business unit. And when I would interact or hear from them, I would get a completely different side of how a business works or how a business runs. What are the things that they need to answer, in order to, keep the entire account or entire business moving. Sometimes when you're doing that from an operations side, you don't seem to understand the importance of it. But then working professionals who have been in their industry for over 10 to 15 years have immense amount of experience, give you a completely different side of business and how they work in those businesses, and what are the different indicators that they look at. So having to see that story from that far end of the spectrum, from where I would look at it, whereas I'm beginning my career, it's something that it helps you keep focus and keep in mind when you're starting in a new industry or when you're starting in a new workplace.